Hello and welcome to the Lake District Yogi. My name's Kat and welcome to class 4 in this series of A Journey into Yoga for Complete Beginners. Before we start, I just have to draw attention to my new mug. As you know, if you've practiced with me before, I'm a huge tea lover. I drink tea all the time and I bring tea to my mat very consciously. It's very much a part of curating the nourishing, soothing, cozy space that I'm looking for. And hopefully you will also discover this as you progress in your practice. Your yoga mat becomes so much more than just this small little place where you perform physical poses. It becomes infused with meaning, and every time you unroll your mat, you are signaling to yourself that you are stepping into a whole new sort of way of being. It's a pause from the world. It's the way we energize ourselves. It's so much more than just the poses that we're doing. And making that space, to me, is really crucial. So I have this gorgeous new mug. I don't know if you can see it, obviously you're miles away, but it's midnight blue with moon and stars on, and I just absolutely love it, and it's making me really happy. Anyway, back to the class. So today's class is called Exploring and Expanding Your Energy. And we're going to be we'll build on what we did in the last few classes. So we'll start with a warm-up and we'll repeat a couple of things, but we're going to really focus on two key poses today that are absolute standards in most yoga classes. One is Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2, absolute classic pose, but really important that you know how to do it safely. And one is Downward Dog. I mean, there's very few classes, that you will go to where you don't encounter Downward Dog. It's a key pose. And when you learn about how we link poses together, we're going to start a little bit of this next week, starting to find our flow and linking things together. Downward Dog is very much a transitional pose as well as being a standalone pose. So it is really key, and it's important that we learn how to do it properly. So without further ado, we're going to start sitting in a cross-legged shape. If you need to prop something underneath your bum, by all means do that. Just get yourself really comfortable so we can start our little warm-up before we start moving into those more energizing, stronger shapes. You know, it's really nice to have a mixture in your practice. So we want lots of softness, lots of opportunity to soothe our nervous system, to bring everything down. That's really important. We also want to build on balance. We want to find some strength poses, and we want to find some of those really strong poses that make you feel amazing inside. It's not really about the strength on your outer body, like building the muscles, like if you did press ups or anything like that. It's about finding this inner strength, this stability and fire in your core that will stand you in good stead. It's very exciting. Anyway, I'm just going to have a sip of tea. Put my cute little mug down. Okay. So hopefully you're in a nice comfortable shape. Just let your hands rest on your knees. Close the eyes. We'll just breathe like this just for a couple of minutes. And let yourself land. And if it helps to visualize, then visualize. Just go for it. This is your time and this is your practice. So if it helps to picture yourself, kind of your body here, but everything else kind of maybe floating down and then landing in this container that is your body. So all parts of you are here, your scattered senses, your thinking mind, everything is here. Feel into your body, feel into the muscles in your spine. How does it feel to sit like this? Is it really uncomfortable? Adjust if you need to. Don't persevere in discomfort. And then look into where your shoulders are. Are they hunched up around your ears? Let them sink down. There are some key places in the body where we hold tension. And when we start to address those and move sort of gently into those areas and soften them, very quickly it becomes second nature. It becomes habitual. So every time you sit, you'll automatically let your shoulders soften down. Let your face soften. And then move your awareness to your breathing. Just see if you can allow the breath to take up just a little bit more space in your torso. Nothing any deeper than that, just allowing space for the breath to flow. Okay, gently open your eyes. Pull a little bit on your knees with your hands and just let your heart shine forward a little. The chin may lift a bit. Feel into the muscles of the spine. And as you exhale, round the spine to the back, draw the chin to the chest. Inhale, pull on the knees, let yourself move forward, let that heart shine. Round the spine to the back as you exhale. Keep moving like this on your own breath for a couple more rounds, just letting the heart beam forward. Around the spine to the back. Okay, next time you start to come forward, just find that neutral spine. Place your right hand on the ground beside you. And then move this left arm all the way in a huge sort of circular motion, all the way until it comes alongside your ear and then stop. And then reach to the tips of your fingers. So when I say that, I'm not saying to such an extent that you're kind of pulling muscles here. You know, it's a gentle expansion, just like we allowed the breath to find space. Allow the body to find space. Keep this left hip rooted and just find that flow right to the tips of the fingers, and imagine that like a line of energy or a running current of energy. And again, remember, you can adjust it with this placed hand here. And keep the breath nice and smooth and spacious. We'll rainbow to the other side. We'll plant the left hand down, sweep this arm all the way over until it comes alongside the ear. Keep that right hip rooted and then find that surge of energy that flows into the fingertips. Beautiful. Slowly come back to center. And then staying in this shape with the legs, just let the hands come forward. So that may be that you are just placing the fingertips on the ground and that is enough. You may find that you can walk yourself a bit further. So just see how far you go that's still comfortable. Keep the back of the base of the spine this time grounded. Now it's not going to be on the ground, but it's that energetic movement. We're keeping focus there. So we're not basically lifting up onto our knees. We can come up onto our fingertips, giving the shoulders a nice stretch. And take a nice sound grounded breath here. And gently walk yourself back up. We're going to come over our knees onto all fours. I'm going to turn to the sides. Okay, now we've done this in each of the classes so far. So we're building on our yoga practice, but we're also revisiting lots of classic things so that they become really familiar to you. So you can have the toes tucked or untucked depending on how you feel. We want our knees under our hips and our wrists under our shoulders. And then that's your stability and that's your container. And then everything else goes a little bit soft. So keep that nice and strong and then soften the belly, soften the face. Maybe let the belly just begin to hang down. So that really begins to arch the spine. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, press into the hands a lot and start to arch the spine to the ceiling. As you breathe in, lift the tailbone, let that belly hang, Heart shines forward again, lift the chin. Press, press, press into the earth as you round the spine to the ceiling. Let the head drop. Lift the tailbone. Feel that energy rippling through the spine. Lift the head right at the end. One more like this. Press, 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 press into the earth, round the spine. Drop the belly. Ripple through, let the heart shine. Lift the gaze. Any amount, doesn't have to be a lot. Find that neutral spine again. I'm going to move into a balance that also involves some core. So this is really great for your core stability. So send your right arm forward. Shine right to the tips of the fingers. And then send your left leg back. You can flex the foot or point the foot. Really find some engagement in that back leg. And then start to draw in the lower belly. So keeping this really stable band around our belly. Find a gaze point, your drishti, somewhere that is unmoving that will help with your balance. Check in with the breath, what has happened. Maybe things have got a bit more challenging. One of the first things that happens is we lose that connection to our breath. Okay, bring that hand and knee down. We'll do a round of cat-cow just to recenter our spine. So breathe in to lift the head. Breathe out to press into the earth and round the spine. Gently flow back to that neutral place. Send the left arm forward. And then the right leg back. Draw in the lower belly, engage that back leg and that front arm. So find that sort of energetic engagement where they feel alive. They're not just hanging out there, they're doing something. Feel that tingling, maybe in your palms or your fingertips. That beautiful life force. Okay, bring the hand and the knee down. Okay, we're going to move into plank, another great core exercise when you're doing like gym stuff. In yoga, we move through plank quite a lot as we link our poses together. And it's often called vinyasa. So there's a sequence of a few moves that we use to link stronger poses together. I do have a whole video on that, a little how-to. So if you're interested and you're feeling quite strong and you want to try that, then by all means, after this, visit the how-to vinyasa, which will help you with that. So plank can be done on the knees or off the knees. So if you want to lift your knees, so we're just going to move them back a little bit on the mat, tuck the toes under, engage the core, and then we'll just lift our knees off the floor. If you'd rather keep them on the floor, that's absolutely fine. Totally up to you. Okay, and then we press again, press down. It's a sort of interesting concept, I think, is the things that we explore in yoga. So much of it is about pressing a downward energy into the earth and using that to create strength and stability. So really pressing down into the hands. Look at your hands. If they are not facing forward, bring your knees down and readjust them. So we're looking to have our fingers nicely spread, so we've got a nice wide base. And we're looking to have that middle finger facing forward. If our hands are kind of at some quirky angle, fingers all off to the side, it just puts a strain on our shoulders. Okay, again, check in with the breath. Draw in that lower belly. Try to take a couple more slow breaths if you can. As soon as you're ready, obviously bring the knees down. Okay, now we're all going to bring the knees down. And then we're going to lower it down to the belly. So keep the hands where they are, bend the elbows, and imagine that you're just landing your heart right down sort of between your hands and untuck your toes. So your hands are under your shoulders. You can place the forehead down, place the tops of the feet on the mat. Okay, feel the engagement. Let the legs be active, not just sort of hanging out with the heels rolling out to the side. Keep the tops of the feet connected to the earth. Find that optimum amount of pressure to really feel that the legs are nicely engaged. It's gentle. We're not going 100%. Okay, keep the hands where they are under the shoulders. Next time you breathe in, lift the head off the mat and then press into the hands and peel the heart any amount off the mat, a little bit. So we're moving into cobra. Gently come back down, place the forehead down. We're going to do that a few times. So as you breathe in, press into the tops of the feet to make that connection. Press into the hands and just peel the heart off the mat and then lower back down. This is really strong on the back, but it's a great way of strengthening the back muscles. We're going to do 2 more. So keep the elbows sort of tucked in, not glued to your side, but tucked in a little. And breathe in, press into the hands, peel up. Don't go too far. If it feels too intense on your lower back, go a lot less. So literally just lift the head. Last one, see how you get on. Press into the hands, find cobra. And then we'll come back down. Beautifully done. Tuck the toes, press yourself all the way back to child's pose. When you get there, you can untuck the toes, let the hips sit against the heels, let the hands slide forwards. Sorry, I'm losing my words suddenly. And take a nice centered breath here and ground yourself. Okay, when you're ready, lift the head, slide the hands towards you so that they're at your knees. Tuck your toes. Make your feet parallel and come up into a forward fold at the back of your mat. So you can keep the knees bent as much as you need. If you have blocks, this might be a good place to bring them because you can place your hands on the blocks. So if you have them, by all means use them. If you don't, it's fine. Your fingers don't need to be on the floor. We're just letting our body sort of hang in this forward fold with as much of a bend in the knees as you want. And then slowly press that downward energy into the feet as we curl up. Let the arms hang. And then as we stand up, let the arms follow. Sorry, plant. Sweep the arms overhead. Okay, I'm going to turn this way so you can see me. You stay where you are. Okay, separate the feet so that they're sort of hip width apart. So you've got a nice stable foundation. Bring the right hand down to your leg, just place it against your leg, and then lean over that way. So left arm alongside the ear again. And again, feel for that energy flowing through the side of your body to your fingertips. And then as you bend to the side, this hand here might creep just a little bit more down your leg, but you don't have to. Maybe you're much more upright. We'll just see how we get on with this side bend. And then we'll come up and over to the other side. So this is just like we did when we were seated. So left hand against the left leg and then lean over. Keep that right foot fully engaged so that even when we're leaning to the side, our foundation is completely stable. Come all the way back up. Reach both hands, fingers, like that energy right to the sky. So reach both arms up. You can have the palms together or just straight up from the shoulders. Maybe you lift the gaze a little. And then bring the arms down to your side. Place all your weight in your left foot and bring your right knee into your chest. I'm just going to turn this way again. So find your drishti, find your gaze point. We are balancing on our left leg. Draw that core in, that will help with stability. If you keep putting your foot down, it's okay. We're just starting this journey, okay? This journey in balance is a key part of it, but it's not something we do every day. So if it's new to you, just keep putting the toes down and lifting up a little. If you're pretty stable here and this is feeling like, you know, a piece of cake, place your left hand outside your right knee and open that right arm to the back. And we'll just give that shoulder a nice stretch. Beautiful. Bring that all back to the front. Place that right leg down. Shake them out if you need. Ground through the right foot. Bring the left knee in. So really feel that engagement in the standing leg. Draw in the muscles. And again, if you're feeling nice and stable and you want to try placing the right hand on the left knee on sort of the outside so you can create that nice hand-knee connection, that dual movement, and then peel the left arm behind you. And then bring that all back in. Nicely done. Okay, we're going to walk to the front of our mat. We're going to stand at the front of the mat. And obviously you've been standing forever, but this is yogi standing, and this is different. So bear with me for just a minute. I'm going to talk you through Tadasana. So Tadasana is mountain pose, essentially standing. Okay, but we're going to go up from the ground, from the foundation. So look down at your feet, maybe have a tiny little bit of space between your feet, and then spread your toes as much as you can. And maybe do a little bit of movement. You could rock from toes to heel, from side to side. You know, really do all the movement. Imagine like a cat does before it settles. It does a lot of that padding and moving. So doing any movement, because that helps you feel the settled nature much more. And you feel the stability when you've been on all, you know, wobbling around on all corners of your feet. So do any movement first, and then ground the feet down. Okay. And then press them down into the earth and imagine that kind of energy rebounding up the legs. So maybe as you engage the big muscles of the thighs, you feel the kneecaps lift a little. You start to feel the legs becoming awake and active and engaged. As you're moving the energy up, draw in that lower belly. So this whole band here is becoming nice and stable. Imagine there's a sort of lift almost out of your waist. We're finding space within the body. And this energy then moves up the sides of the body, up the front, the ribs, the chest is nice and open, the shoulders are open. We're not hoiking them back like this, but we're not hunched forward either. Everything is about a gentle exploration. So finding a sense of the shoulders being broad and open and spacious, but without creating tension. And that gives loads of space across the chest, the heart space. And then that movement carrying up the back of the neck, which is lovely and long, all the way to the crown of the head, where you can imagine there's a little thread, and the thread is pulling the crown of the head away from your feet, creating even more space in your entire beautiful body. And then take a grounded breath here. Okay. So we're going to move into Warrior 2 and we're going to get there through high lunge. So this is our first little try at linking things together. More of this next week. So keeping all of this beautiful integrity and stability. On your next in-breath, sweep the arms overhead. And we're coming into a forward fold. So there are two ways of doing this. We're going to either come down with a flat back with the arms out to the side like an aeroplane, or you can draw the hands down the midline of the body in prayer position. Either way, we're hinging, we're keeping the knees soft, bent if you want, and hinging from the hips until we find that forward fold. Okay, this is a great place for your blocks. So if you have your blocks, sorry, I should have said that before we started off on this little sequence. Grab your block. So find that forward fold. Okay, if your hands are not on the ground, that's absolutely fine. Okay, and then we're going to place the fingers on the ground. So either use blocks or bend the knees as much as you need and step the right foot all the way to the back of your mat. Okay, adjust your feet. So obviously first few times this is going to feel quite odd. You'll soon get to know sort of how much distance that way, kind of east to west, you need your feet to be. We don't want our feet on like a tightrope. We want them like on train tracks. Okay, lightly engage that core, lightly engage the legs and lift your torso up. Nicely done. And then if you are able, we'll lift the arms overhead. Try to press that back. Well, press is too strong a word. Ease that back heel back a little. Just find a bit of energy in that back heel so that you really feel that back leg nice and engaged. Keeping that front knee directly over the ankle. Okay, and this is how we move into Warrior Two. This is a quirky kind of feeling transition. I promise you'll get used to it. Okay, you can bring the hands back down. We're going to move this back foot and seal that heel down. So as you do that, you'll notice your hips, which are facing forward, will move off to an angle. Okay, so the hips are now facing kind of almost 45 degrees or so. And that back foot is flat, the heel is down. And then we open our arms like this. I will do it this way as well so you can see. Okay, so we've got the front knee directly over the front ankle. This leg is bent. The back leg is sealed down. Any angle, does not matter. Hips are facing off that way into the corner of the mat. Lift the arms. Okay. Where possible, we want to be, imagine as we move down, sliding down a wall. The temptation is to sink at the integrity, at the cost of the integrity. So then we start rounding forward and we lose it all. It's much better to stay much higher up and keep this nice long spine than worry about trying to go low. If you can, with sinking down a little. Okay, this is such a powerful shape. I mean, it's just beautiful. I'm going back to my first side, if you don't mind. Okay, so imagine now that energy coming whoosh to the tips of all 10 fingers. The arms are, it's easy to forget about the arms. We're concentrating on the power in our legs. Press down into the feet. Feel the energy in your body. Draw in that core. Excuse me. Feel your strength. Okay. We're going to go back to our lunge, our high lunge. So this is another fun transition. Yoga is playful. Let's just see how we get on. You can bring the hands back in, come back onto your toes at the back. So now the hips are facing forward and lift the arms overhead. We're going to do that transition one more time. I really want you to really feel into your Warrior Two. Virabhadrasana 2. It's great. Okay, so when you're ready, turn the hips to the side, plant that back heel down, and then open the arms out. Make sure you can still see your toes on your front leg. That's really important. Make sure that knee is stacked over the ankle. Draw in that lower belly, feel the stability, feel the strength in this shape, and breathe in. And breathe out. Okay, here comes the transition back onto the toes. Don't worry if you wobble, arms overhead. Okay, we're going to take a big step from here back to the front of the mat, back to Tadasana, and we'll do that on the other side when you're ready. So let's recenter ourselves, wiggle down through your feet. Take a nice breath in. So we can just step back. So if you would rather do that, if you just want to step back, otherwise, in preparation for our little flowing sequences that we're building on, we'll go down through our forward fold. So when you're ready, breathing in, we'll move the arms overhead. And then we hinge from the hips. I'm going to do my arms out to the side, this time like a T, flat back. Bend the knees, come all the way down, find blocks if you need. And then when you're ready, step the left foot back. You can always put your hands on the blocks here too. Find your stability, get your feet nice and anchored, and then we lift up. You can let the hands rest on the leg if you can. Lift the arms overhead. Okay, feel into the strength here. This is when the container, the body, is really strong. But what I love about yoga is within the strength lies our softness. We don't want to be all of one or all of the other. It's sthira and sukha, the strength and softness, or the steadiness and the ease. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to move into our warrior two. So seal that back heel down, hips come to the side, arms wide. Zoom that energy to your fingertips. Check you can see your front toes. Feel the strength. If you're not so open, don't forget your version may look different. You know, your legs might be much closer together. It's all fine. This is just a journey. We're working into some of these really big, strong poses, but it might not look like this yet. Okay, we're going to transition back to our lunge. So we're going to swivel on our back toes. A bit of balance coming in there as well. Keep the shoulders nice and soft. Keep the heart shining. Okay, once more into warrior two. Seal down and then sink. Open the arms. Nicely done. Turn to look towards that middle finger of your right hand. Don't forget the back arm. You know, when we're focused on something else, it can just sort of hang out. Keep that energy all the way to the fingertips. Okay, transition again to our lunge. Nicely done. And then step forward once more. Oh, beautiful. Okay, we're not transitioning in a flow at this point. We're going to just come back down to all fours. So as we progress through our through building on these sequences, we would be able to link a whole load of poses together, or sort of transition through poses to get here. And that's when yoga becomes like a moving meditation and really, really fluid and feels beautiful in your body. We're not doing that today. So we're coming back to all fours and we're going to move into downward dog from here. And I'd like you to watch first before you lift. So downward dog is the classic pose that you've probably seen. I think other than tree pose, it's the pose that everyone's at least heard of, even if they've never seen it or tried to do it. And it's that classic sort of upside down V shape. Okay, it can take years. I don't mean to like be off-putting. It can take years for it to feel like a pose full of ease in your body. Okay, it can feel awkward for quite a long time, but persevere, because I promise you, if you get to the point where you can move easily into a beautifully aligned downward dog, oh, there's nothing like it. It feels so good in your body. So I'm going to show you. So we come from, well, today we're coming from all fours. So we've got our hands facing forward, our fingers spread, tucking the toes. Okay, this is what happens in downward dog. You basically press into the hands and the feet and lift the hips off the ground and extend the legs. Okay, so I'm going to show you my downward dog as I perform it, like at the moment. This is after 25 years of yoga. Some people will automatically just be able to move into this shape. Most, it doesn't look like this for quite a long time. For lots of people, the weight stays much further forward over the shoulders and the spine's really arched, and it just feels and looks quite uncomfortable. So although we might not be able to extend into a really easeful downward dog, there are things we can do. So the first thing is to bend the knees, and I really want you to watch what happens. If you bend your knees and lift your hips, can you see how that straightened out my spine straight away? So bending the knees, lifting the hips. People think that downward dog is about the legs and the hamstrings, and it does work that, but it's really about the spine. It's about finding that long spine, whether the legs are straight or not, whether your heels are on the floor or not, it's completely immaterial. Okay, so we're going to try it. So come into all fours, tuck the toes, And when you're ready, find your version. Find whatever version, whatever it looks like to you. If you feel like you're sort of quite far forward, bend the knees, lift the hips. And then when you're here, if it's comfortable, you can gently move into one leg and then the other. So we call this pedaling out the feet, lifting and lowering the heels, one leg and then the other. It's absolutely sensational for the backs of the legs. But if that feels like a step too far, just stay here, find stillness. Keeping the knees bent as much as you need, hips nice and high. And just see how you get on. Okay, gently lower the knees back down. We're going to try that one more time. We'll give ourselves a little break in between. I appreciate that, you know, when you go online or you go to a yoga class and you see yoga practitioners and they're like just seamlessly moving back into downward dog, and it's just not the case for so many people at the beginning. And it can be quite, you know, I remember going for quite a long time to yoga classes and my shoulders would just shudder and shake with the, you know, the strenuousness of downward dog, whereas I'd never feel that now, but I did for a very long time. It's a very unnatural shape to put your body in. Anyway, if you're up for it, we'll try again. So coming to all fours, tuck the toes, keep those hands glued to the mat, fingers spread, middle finger forward. When you're ready, lift up into your downward dog. Keeping the knees bent as much as you need. And the other thing, that just a slight adjustment, which you may not be ready for yet, but people quite often have their head sort of quite far forward. If you can, sort of draw the chin in the direction of your chest. Let your head come between your upper arms a bit. That can also help with that integrity in the spine. And check in with your breath. I know it seems like there's so much to think about. It's a bit like learning to drive. It all becomes second nature, taking those nourishing deep breaths in your downward dog. Whenever you're ready, come to your knees again if your shoulders are starting to shake. And then we'll all come to our knees. Separate the knees, find child's pose. Stretch the arms forward if you can. So any like compression or kind of where you've used those muscles in your downward dog, in your spine, let them all stretch out now. Release everything. Place the forehead down. Let yourself take a really nice grounded breath. And then slide your hands to your knees. Press yourself up with a nice flat back. Come round onto your bum. Send your legs forward. We'll revisit Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. So remember, if you want, you can take a blanket and put it under your knees, rolled up to give your knees support here. Or you can just keep them bent. The legs do not have to be straight, but engage the feet so that they're active, whether they're bent or not. Okay, and then we'll sweep the arms overhead. And then just start to hinge forward from the hips. So you'll feel the stretch here. So when that feels too much, bend the knees or stop the movement. And then let the hands come down. They can find your feet, they can find your legs. Let that heart stay lifted a little. Draw that breath in and out smoothly, finding space. And then let yourself come back up. Find a cross-legged shape. Place the hands on the knees. Close the eyes. We've come full circle. This is how we started. I'm just going to invite you to check in again. How does your body feel? So start on the kind of outer layer. How does your physical body feel? The joints, the big muscles, places that maybe you have never felt before. You know, yoga starts to really enliven us to being completely embodied in and using muscles that we didn't even know we had. So just feel in first. How does your body feel on that layer? And then if you can, and this might not be possible yet, see if you can delve into a deeper layer of how you feel. How do you feel emotionally after that? You know, it's all linked. Yoga can bring up all kinds of really deep-seated and strong emotions. So just check in with yourself with tenderness and care. How do you feel emotionally? And then is it possible to go even deeper in? How do you feel on that kind of energetic level? Can you feel that buzzing and humming in your body? Can you feel that there have been shifts maybe in energy? How does it feel to have sustained that spacious, slow breath for the duration of this practice? Okay, gently open the eyes. We'll just end with a nice seated twist. So sweeping the arms overhead once more. Feel, feel, feel everything. And as you exhale, move into the twist. So left hand to right knee, right hand behind. We just wring everything out. So remember to grow first. So growing tall first and then twisting from the belly. Sweep the arms one last time. Feel all that energy in those limbs. Twist the other way. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind. Slowly come to the front. Lift the arms, let the palms meet in space. And slowly as you breathe out, just draw them with some energy down to your heart. And then release them. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. It felt a little bit more disjointed maybe as we sort of leapt from pose to pose, but I'm really keen for you to explore and try some of these big key poses. And then maybe you've kind of caught a glimpse of how we can link these together and create this beautiful fluid practice, which just feels so amazing in your body. If you are interested, I have a how-to on the Warrior that we did on Warrior 2. There are 2 other versions of Warrior. Excuse me, I'm really sorry, I've got a bit of a croaky throat today. So I have a how-to video on Warrior, and I have a how-to on Vinyasa, which is the little classic linking sequence. So if you're interested, by all means watch those. They're super short, like 5 minutes or something. It just help give a little bit, more detail and depth into those 2 key areas. But thank you so much for joining me. If you are enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe and share and all of those things. It really does make a huge difference. I'm genuinely making these videos from my heart. I want people to explore this beautiful lifestyle that is yoga, and so the more people I can reach, the better. And I will be back next week with a class where we will start to link these together. It's called Finding Your Flow, and I know you're going to love it, and I'm really excited to share that with you. But for now, from my home to your home and from my heart to your heart, I hope you are well wherever you are. Oh, for the love of yoga, what would we do without it? I will see you again soon. Bye.